Welcome everyone to episode 25. Quarter century, bro. 25. We've made it. Of Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast. I am Chris Dredd here with my main man JB. What's good in the hood, bro?
Oh man, what a week! It's been a longer week because we're as usual we're behind.
Yes, we are behind, but you know, we make it count when we're here. And
Exactly,
to be honest,
yeah.
I mean, we don't really have like a schedule, do we? We don't really like. I mean,
Nor should we.
No,
We're on when we're on.
That's right. We're and it keeps people in anticipation. Some weeks you get 2 shows. I mean, to be fair, most weeks you get at least one. You might have to wait a day here and there.
Without diving into our personal lives at all, we work very hard and long hours.
Yeah,
and that's.
We're literally like real talk, yeah. Me and Jordan are absolutely fucked right now. We are literally so tired, right? But we don't care because we have got a show and a half for you today.
Oh,
yes. We really have got a show and a half for you. So, yeah, I mean, we always begin at the beginning, and
we do. And before
we have news.
For any chatter of any news or any shows, let's make it easy for them. Touch the bell.
Can you touch my bell? Touch Jordan's as well. Ding, ding, ding-a-ling-a. Touch his bell. Just touch his bell. It's just down there.
Hit the bell. Hit the subscribe button. I don't know what's the subscribe button would be in podcast land on. If you're following.
Follow him. That's right. Get our RSS feed or whatever.
And if we're talking of following, you can also follow us on Twitter, on Instagram at Chat Grapple Pops. You can find us on Facebook. There is a Facebook group. We're everywhere.
We are everywhere. Like the coronavirus apparently is everywhere. But
apparently. we're not in Cornwall, right?
We're not in Cornwall, no, that's right. Fuck that. We're not a political podcast, but still.
No.
It's what day are we on today? What day is it? Tuesday?
I believe it's Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, it is Tuesday. So, I mean, usually we try and do it, weekly, but we've been a little bit pushed back this week. But here we are. Greeting. We really appreciate everybody listening, everybody watching. If you can see our mugs, you are watching us on YouTube. Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast on YouTube. If you're listening to us, you're probably listening to us on one of the many podcast platforms: Podbean, Spotify, Deezer, Castbox, Listen Notes, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, the whole fucking shebang. We're on everything. And we are happy to be on everything. And we're happy that you join us. Like I say, we never even realised, we say this every fucking episode, but we never even realised that we would mean anything to anybody. But we are obviously getting our repeat viewers. We've obviously got our fans. We've got people we interact with, and we fucking love each and every one of you. Absolutely. And that's it, really. That's how we mean to go on.
It's a thank you at the start, and I'm sure we'll thank you again at the end.
100%.
But we will start before we get to our main show. As usual, there is news. There's a lot of news because like I said, we're a bit behind. But I'll start because I've got some good stuff. Wade Keller, everyone's favourite AEW journalist. Second favourite, probably behind Dave Meltzer. Wade made a boo-boo. I'll probably say it's more likely to be poor wording than him being an arsehole. But he said that Roman Reigns' leukemia wasn't as bad as other people's or something. And yeah, it didn't go down well.
I mean, it's not apples and oranges. Leukemia is leukemia, brother. I wouldn't want any strain of it.
I'd more likely give him the benefit of the doubt because, no one would mean to say something that's stupid and terrible.
Yeah, it was, stupid thing to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that was obviously it set the Twitter crowd into uproar.
Of course it did.
Doesn't take a lot. I'll give the IWC its due, I guess. In that case, they can be offended by a lot very quickly, which is likely going to be me now because I've said that.
I'm surprised we haven't lost, because it seems like we attack a specific company every single week, but I'm surprised we haven't lost more followers.
I'm not going to attack them this week. I don't think. I have one joke about them early on, but that's about it.
Yeah, man.
Undertaker's send-off, did you see it?
Yeah, saw. Yeah.
Sorry.
It was no, but do you know what? It's dog shit because there's no people in there, man. There's no, when you fucking, when you're sending off someone like the Undertaker who's been in it for 30 odd years or whatever, I swear they were pumping crowd noise in as well. When Shane O'Mac come down to the ring and
they were pumping chants in. It just didn't work.
No,
didn't work.
But this, 2 words, mate. Fuck Corona. It's fucking everything up. It's not just fucking people's work life up. It's fucking their home life up. It's fucking wrestling up. It's fucked the Undertaker's farewell.
Yeah.
It's well and truly fucked Mr. Calloway. And I feel bad for him, son.
Hopefully he'll get a proper send-off when crowds are back. Survivor Series in general, because we, like I said, we're so far back. Drew and Roman, Sasha and Asuka, New Day and Street Profits, all brilliant. And on a side note, Montez Ford is a main eventer, future main eventer for sure. Absolutely brilliant.
Good. Don't say that on it.
I have a bone to pick with the Marks.
Yeah, go on.
It's not usually me that does this, but
oh no, I've got things to come, so you're fine.
Marks, I have a message for you. Don't make yourselves look stupid online. I know it's very easy, and very, in some cases, I'm sure you find it fun. But in one instance this week or last week, I saw a Twitter spat between dashing Chris Bay, I think it is, and the New York badass Phil Baroni. For anyone that doesn't know who Phil Baroni is, and there was a lot of them on Twitter, look him up. It takes 2 seconds to look him up on YouTube and watch him punch Dave Monet's head off in 10 seconds in UFC. Don't be so stupid as to go, who's Phil Baroni? You only had to look it up and see that the guy, back in the day, granted, hit like a fucking hammer. His MMA career is irrelevant, whether he lost a load or not. CM Punk didn't win a single one in MMA, but the Marks love him. But do not get yourselves involved in an argument, which it was. And it was just tragic reading a lot of these messages saying, who the hell is he? Like, if you looked him up, you'd know he can beat the fuck out of people.
And I bet these motherfuckers don't know who Tank Abbott is either. I bet. Do you get what I'm saying? They'd be like, who the fuck's Tank Abbott?
Don't just, we get it. You're all big wrestling fans, but respect what else is going on outside of it. Respect other sports too. There's people that, can't help but take digs at, Pat McAfee and stuff like that. Like, Geezer was the punter of the decade. He made something of himself in the NFL. Don't be a dick about it.
You're telling Marks not to be dicks?
No, I'm trying. I'm really trying. Because, like I said, it's Phil Baroni. Like I said, he wasn't the best fighter in the world.
Yeah.
But the guy got in the cage and did stuff, and he literally punched a guy's head off in 10 seconds. It was.
Yeah, man. No,
I might have to put it up just to show them and teach them.
It's just this very narrow field of vision a lot of the time.
Very, yeah.
And it's like, this is what I like. This is what I think is the best thing in the world. I don't want to hear any opinions either side of this. If you do, it's going to upset me. And this is it. It's just, yeah, I don't know what kind of mentality it is, but it's one of them ones where it's just the ignorance and arrogance
it was just something
added
that happened
together.
to come across, and I thought, look, you're making yourselves look really stupid. But that's my. Well, I guess it's a rant. It wasn't really, but that's my rant. Mike Tyson, noted wrestling fan, and sorry, not John Jones, Roy Jones Jr. Almost got that completely wrong. Fuck myself up. Fought to a draw. I'm almost certain their pay-per-view numbers will outstrip a wrestling company that I'm sure you're going to bring up any minute now.
Dude, stop it.
Yeah, I woke myself up at 5 a.m. to watch it. So that says a lot about how interested you are in something if you really want to watch it.
But you know what?
Mike Tyson, noted wrestling fan, been on a lot of shows. So
yeah, man. I mean, for me, like, I've watched a lot of Mike Tyson's interviews post boxing, and he's obviously started a cannabis farm. He's got a podcast, Hot Boxing, where he talks about he gets stoned and he talks about a lot of shit. And Tyson had a fucking. He says, he was this kind of mentality of guy where he just wanted to destroy people, and he was the best fighter when he just went out there and just wanted to eat people up. You know what I mean? And for me, like, I didn't watch the fight because I kind of knew that obviously it's a show
exhibition, yeah,
exhibition match, and it's showboating and stuff, but I wasn't really as interested as yourself. But for me, Tyson's an absolute Donny. He's he's a
There's
Don.
a really interesting story about Mike Tyson, which shows that he's got a real brain for promoting, and which is why probably wrestling, and Tyson mixed quite well. So when he was about to do a press conference with Lennox Lewis way back when, this was the one where he bit his leg. He bit Lennox Lewis on the leg. They got into a little brawl, and his manager at the time said, "Mike, what the hell are you doing?" Mike just said, "The fight will be bigger now. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's the weirdest way to promote a fight by biting someone's leg, but what the hell, man?
Yeah, man, fucking, he knows what he's doing.
I want to see Kenny Omega
promo
bite Mox's leg next week. See if we get the promotion.
This whole discussion, let's move on to AEW very quickly.
Have at it, man.
Because people are acting like these feuds that are going on in AEW are something so magical and so great. It was you that pointed out to me someone comparing Moxley and Omega's feud to Stone Cold The Rock, and I was just like, right. I mean, not even as a joke can you even say that. I mean, it's fucking. They haven't really had a feud. They haven't had a feud. There's been no real build up to it. And the fact is, everybody knows that Omega's injured and that Moxley's going to be having a baby at some point soon. So they're all like making up these fucking, oh, right, this is going to happen because of this and this. And, it's like, fuck off. Like, I don't want to hear it no more. Like, the Wrestling Observer marks are just, and I got into all types of bother in an AEW group the other day because I was talking about, they said, oh, what's the biggest booking mistake that they did? And I said, letting Moxley beat MJF. I still think that was their biggest booking mistake ever. And another thing where they were talking about the Young Fucks match, and how the booking was terrible and how there's just too many, like, it's crazy. And right, have you seen any of it this week?
No, I remember reading something online where you were called a virgin.
I was called a fucking someone was like, oh, classic WWE Mark, you're a virgin, go back to bed, it's past your bedtime or something. And I was just like, oh, fuck off, you fucking loser. You're the one sitting there wanking in your mum's fucking basement, not me. Like, so there was something that happened. There was a couple of examples that happened this week, like the Young Bucks, the booking of their match. Like, I still say there's still a problem with AEW where they came out initially and they said, oh, we're going to blur the lines. There are no heels and there are no faces, yeah? And it's like, you can't have wrestling without that dynamic, else no one gives a fuck and no one knows what's going on. People want to say it's old school Carney wrestling, Jim Cornette, blah, 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 blah. But the fact is, wrestling, you got to have a good guy and a bad guy. People have got to root for, you know, they're trying to fucking, and Moxley's pissing me off, right? Omega got DDT'd, okay, in the middle of the ring, and it was lying there flat out for ages and ages while Moxley stands over him and cuts a promo. And it's like, what is the point? Like, he's a pussy then. He's taken one DDT and he's lied down while Moxley's might as well just piss all over him because he's just killing the character. Like, there's no heat. There's nothing.
I will say I will give Chris Jericho a bit of credit this week. He did come out on Conan's podcast. Keeping It 100, I think it is.
Yeah,
that's right. And he said there are problems with the booking. It's not always perfect. It's not always good. Because one week in particular, they had the town hall meeting where discussing whether MJF's going to join the Inner Circle, and then in the next segment, it was like, is Taz, is Hobbs going to join Taz's team? Like, it's the same thing. Why would you have the same thing in two segments? Like,
but they do the same played out angles as well, where you've got people getting attacked backstage all the time. Like, it's happened like three or four times in the last month or whatever with different people, and it's like, it's bullshit. But that's my main issue with AEW. The fucking booking is all over the shop. No one gives a shit and what's going on, because no one knows who's who. No one knows what's what. Everyone's trying to be a heely face or a facey heel. And it's fucking, it don't make sense, mate. Have a good guy and a bad guy, and let's tell some fucking stories, man. But do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but on that note, okay, I've been called fucking all sorts on these AEW groups, yeah. And the fact is, I do care about. A virgin. I've got a fucking 10-year-old son, but I'm a virgin. But it's one of them things that really annoys me, because they're like, oh, why anyone that criticizes any aspect of AEW is called straight away a WWE mark. And I said, bruv, the last thing I watched of WWE pretty much live was probably fucking WrestleMania 30. I'm pretty sure I went round to my mate Shane's and watched it. You know what I mean? It's like, how many years ago was that?
And we actually welcome you to our review of WWF Capital Carnage.
Yeah, but still, I pay for the network. Don't get it twisted. I pay for the network. And I support. I don't bootleg pay-per-views or anything like that. If I want to watch it, I watch on the network. I'll watch this, that, and the other. And also, I support AEW. As you can see, my beautifully brand new figure here. People that are watching this on YouTube can see. Here's me and little Maxwell. Little Maxwell. So this is my pride and joy at the moment. My MJF figure, which is great. And it does have a bit of a Jax feel to it.
No title belt around his waist, though, is there?
There should be a fucking belt round his waist. The Moxley figure shouldn't have the fucking belt. MJF should have the belt. I don't give a shit. They really dropped the ball on that one. Think about this, right? During this time, I mean, obviously they weren't to know that everything was going to go into lockdown or whatever, yeah? But, the fact is, having a heel champion at this time, like, Moxley's been stale this whole time. It's just bullshit. But having MJF just, taking the belt to Vegas or whatever, like, what they could have done so much with him and the belt, it just, honestly, it gets on my nerves. But yeah, people that say that maybe we dig out AEW every week, and Chris is always bitching about the booking and this and this. We fucking support AEW. This figure right here is my pride and joy at the moment. It's my MJF figure, AEW. Shout out to my missus for surprising me when I was flicking through Smith's Toys in the UK. I was just flicking on the internet and I was like, oh, fucking hell, I really want that figure. She's like, oh, what figure's that? I was like, oh, MJF, the one wearing the little scarf. and she fucking bought it for me, man. 19.99, 20 quid well spent, makes Chris a happy boy. So
She's good people. We spoke about this already.
she's good people, man. She
Yeah.
puts up with enough shit, man. We're sorting out a little gaming room downstairs in our dining room at the minute, and yeah, I'm going to be moving a load of wrestling shit down there. I had to own up to her yesterday as well. Bought a couple of wrestling figures yesterday, and I had to own up to it. So I was like, yeah, I kind of bought a WWF Heat Chris Jericho and the WrestleMania 20 Triple H fully loaded figure as well. Yeah,
Very
dude.
cool.
They were fairly cheap as well, to be honest. I mean, they didn't cost a fortune, but it's just, you know, times are tough at the minute, and the last thing I should be doing really is buying figures. But shout out to my missus. She knows I love her. So, but yeah, we are talking about WrestleMania. We're talking about WWF figures, and we are. Where are we going, Jordan? Where have we got any more news?
We are not traveling far.
We ain't going that far.
We are getting in the time machine. We are getting in the DeLorean for this, but it's 1998. It's December 6th. We are a hop, skip, and a train ride over to London.
That's right, baby.
It's the London Arena. It's 10,441 in attendance. I couldn't find a pay-per-view number. It's a UK only pay-per-view. Sky
box
pretty
office.
shit on they're on handing out their numbers. It is a Sky box office exclusive. It's Capital Carnage.
Dude, I'm old enough to remember when the London Arena was called the London Docklands Arena as well.
Oh, wow.
That's how we're going back. But it was demolished in around 2005, 2006. So it's not actually there anymore.
No.
A lot of the time now they do them in Wembley Arena, or the TNA shows, they did a lot of them in the Wembley Arena.
Yeah, Wembley seems to be the place now.
I saw TNA three or so times in the Wembley Arena.
Were you paid to go, or did
Fuck you, dude. Yes, I did pay to go. Shout out to my my pal Lee, who went with me pretty much every single time. Yeah, man. But it was good. But we love a UK event. Like, you've got to love a UK event, and we will say straight away, dude, this crowd is off the fucking chain. It's rowdy, dude. JR explains the crowd and calls it raucous, and that's exactly what these fuckers
the building
here are.
shakes once or twice.
It does. It shakes the camera quite a lot. It's amazing.
It is Jerry Lawler and JR calling this. This would be JR's last show until WrestleMania. We'll get into that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
The show is based around Stone Cold Steve Austin having a bullseye on his chest. And before we even get to that, we get one quick line from Jerry, Uncle Jerry, of course. Sable is one sexy bird. One
sexy bird. I've got a lot to say about Sable in this event, because this was a very pivotal time and a very interesting time in the life of the WWF, Sable, and the backstage goings on. Basically, there was a lot of shit happening at this time, like a hell of a lot of shit.
I hate to be this guy, but I have a little bit of a defense of Sable later on.
That's cool. I mean, you know, and here is the VHS right in front of you. WWF Capital Carnage from the UK. Beautiful little video that is, VHS.
And we're straight into match number one. Chris's favourite wrestler in the world.
Yeah, dude. Gangrel.
Against...
Still the best gimmick ever, man. Don't give a shit.
He does, it's a great entrance. Up against Chris's second favourite wrestler in the world, Al fucking Snow.
He's not my second favourite wrestler. It is. I don't mind Al Snow. I like this iteration of Al Snow better. The hardcore. Huh?
It's the only gimmick that worked. Him walking around with a mannequin head.
Yeah, but it was good, man. That's fine. He found his niche. It's fine. It was the only one that worked. Leaf Cassidy, yeah, you know, fucking Avatar. Enigma. What was it?
He was Avatar when he.
Avatar, that's it. Yeah, I said Enigma. Don't know what I'm talking about.
Both guys are, you know, in with any UK crowd, most guys are over like big time. There's no. It's because a lot of the time UK crowds are starved of, the WWF or WWE coming over back then, especially. So when they did come over once or twice a year, you'd get the craziest crowd. Everybody's over, and the matches aren't very long.
No, I mean, everyone is over, and Jordan has hit the nail exactly on the head there. We, at this time, it's 1998. We very rarely, I mean, we rarely had shows over here, let alone specific UK only exclusive pay-per-views.
Well, they did one night only in '97, didn't they?
That's right, one night only,
First
and
one.
then the Capital Carnage. I mean, I think they made a fair bit of money off the of tickets and all that.
But sold out in under an hour.
That's right, sold out in under. Crazy. I mean, fuck, man. I mean, wouldn't you have just loved to have been there? It would have been, and you get an eyeful quite soon as well.
Yeah. There's a couple of mistimed moves. I'm blaming Al. It's not even me being funny. It looks like they're both sort of Al's mistakes.
Right.
The fans want head.
Whatever they do. Yep. We want head. The chants, okay, as we get further into this, like we said last week, the UK crowd, us Brits, we are from that mentality. We are like football fans. And whenever there's an event and there's a crowd together, you're going to get horns. You're going to get the me. You're going to get, and as it goes on, you get the football chants that you're only going to hear a British crowd, and it is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
It just is absolutely beautiful, and I'm just watching it, and it's like, I think over the course of a couple of days, I ended up watching this event twice, because obviously when we're watching it and we're making notes and stuff like that, But then when I was working, I had it on again in the background, and I was watching other bits and bobs to it, because, it's fucking I really enjoyed this show. I don't know if you can tell. I'm quite excited about this one. Really, really enjoyed it.
Like I said, this match is really short. The rest of the Brood, Edge and Christian arrive at ringside. Al uses head. Al gives Gangrel head.
Yep.
But Edge hits him with a missile drop kick, and Gangrel gets 3 count. Done.
Yeah, it wasn't a very long match. It was an all right opener, but I can see why they had it as the opener, because you've got Gangrel, who his entrance was just epic, and then you've got Al Snow. Do you see how many heads were in the crowd? How many styrofoam heads, with "Help Me" written on them? They were over. Both of them were just fucking over as hell. It was great. It was lovely to see.
And I know how much you enjoyed this, because you mentioned it. Mankind in the boiler room at the London.
I loved it.
He said it's the coldest boiler room he's ever been in.
Yep. And he wants to smash his frostbitten feet through somebody's front teeth.
Yeah.
It was fucking beautiful promo. Loved every minute of it.
It's he does mention London a couple of times as well, because Mick, being Mick, gets a couple of cheap pops in there, which is what we love.
Hence the name of the podcast, baby.
Right.
And over your shoulder there, you've got Mr. Foley just to the left of you. It's beautiful. That's, we love a cheap pop on this podcast, and he gets a couple of good ones in, talking about London and London. I think there's a few cheap pops in this. There's quite a few.
One or two, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, man. What this LOD 2000, Droz and Animal taking on the Headbangers. And I mean, do you want to do our Beyond the Mat reference about Droz already?
Of course, I've already got it written in my notes. He's gotta puke. He's gotta. John, some coffee. You're gonna get sick. It's funny, right? Today when I was working, right, it was very quiet this afternoon. So I've got a computer there, and I had my phone. So on one of them, I had Beyond the Mat playing, and on the other one, I had the watch along of Bruce Pritchard talking. They were watching Beyond the Mat and just talking through it and explaining, and it was fucking great. And Bruce Pritchard done his impression of Vince doing the "He's gonna puke," and it was just, I just love it. It's just great. But yeah, obviously he never made it as puke. And it was Darren Droznov, but it always makes me very sad when I see Droz, though. You know, it's always
he's. I
yeah,
mean,
you know,
the injury that put him out of action completely in a match with D'Lo is it's not a great one, but I mean he's not over with this UK crowd at all, Droz.
But
There's
the
a
thing
lot
is,
of
though,
we want Hawk chants.
But that means But to be honest, I think that means he is over because he's the heel part of that pairing. You know what I mean? Because they show this little video package, and there was they talk about like Hawk attempting suicide.
Yeah, I remember
before. It was like he's on the top of the fucking on top of the screen.
Yeah.
And Droz clearly pushes him off. Like, you can see.
It's hokey, man.
It's hokey, man. They're like, oh, he's trying to help him down. He's trying to talk him down. It's like, well, no, like, you can see him push him. Like, it's like, clearly. You know, and they've, also, there's, Animal is a possible ICO Pro winner this week. I don't know.
I have I remember you messaging me saying you have a surprise winner.
Yeah.
I think we might have the same surprise winner.
Okay. Well, we haven't spoke about this either.
No.
I literally just messaged you and said I've got a surprise winner. But yeah, I mean, Hawk was pumped at this time. The Headbangers. So you've got LOD 2000, which is Animal and Droz versus the Headbangers. Got all the pre-story about Hawk is not in a good way and stuff, and he attempted suicide, and really Droz pushed him off. And you've got the "We Want Hawk" chants. I mean, Droz is all right, but this match was just a bit.
Again, so short. It's you lose a lot. You lose anything from it, really. Inexplicably, Droz rolled Animal out of the ring, and he got rolled up by one of the bangers for a 3 count.
It's crazy the amount of roll-up finishes there are on this pay-per-view as well.
Yeah, there's
crazy
in the next one.
It's so crazy. It's like they fucking just said, "No, roll up, roll up, roll up." It was like it's at the finishes. Pat Patterson had a night off. Fuck it, roll up. Fuck it, roll.
There is a nice pop for the bangers, Headbangers winning. But the place goes nuts when Animal starts putting the boots to Droz.
Fucking luck! The place does explode, man. They're going at it. Animal's putting the boots in, and then I think the referees come down, didn't they? Try and split it up.
Yeah. We get a recap from Raw where Austin lays out the Undertaker with a shovel, and then him and Austin and Kane. I forgot about this really quick alliance.
Yeah.
Austin and Kane put Paul Bearer in the sewer.
It was great as well.
Michael Cole catches up with the Undertaker and Paul Bearer. Taker says, you got to pray for Austin. He's going to pay for his sins. This is the Undertaker getting very, very dark. And then I couldn't help myself but laugh at Paul Bearer at the end of it because he makes this, he says, "You happy now?"
Yeah. I hope you're happy with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, walks off. And I just couldn't help but laugh. It was
Taker did all the talking in that promo. He did every single bit because this is the time when it was the transition, weren't it? Yeah. From the Undertaker not really saying much, to kind of slowly building it up. They'd already had the Kane thing happen, and then Bearer, it was.
Could cut a promo.
Yeah, I mean, again. We've had this conversation before. Was the Undertaker the best gimmick ever? Possibly, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was better than Al Snow, so.
He's had a few, not as many as Ed Leslie.
Yeah.
But, I see you having a little bit of a spat with someone talking about that as well, comparing
The guy tried to tell me that Al Snow was, yes, he's a better worker than Ed Leslie, but was he more over than Ed? Hell no.
No, not as Bruti.
Exactly. Bruti sold out shows. He, worked main events of pay-per-views. Like before, there was 12 pay-per-views a year. There was only 4.
He had the fucking barbershop.
Yeah. He had the barbershop where, we had one of the greatest heel turns of all time. Don't tell me Al was more over than, he tried to say that he was over in ECW, like in front of 3,000 people in the bingo hall.
I know, I saw that. I couldn't help but have a little chuckle.
Yeah.
Why must we do this to ourselves and get into these little spates with people?
Oh, it's crazy, but it's fun.
It's so funny, yeah. But that's wrestling, man. Like, there's a lot of people
I'm all for a good, well thought out conversation with wrestling fans. I don't 100%. Have a problem with it the slightest. But when you're telling me that Al Snow's more over than Brutus the Barber, who granted is Ed Leslie, he had a billion gimmicks, but as Brutus the Barber, he was at his height. He was at his most famous. And yeah, he worked a main event of SummerSlam. So
yes.
If Al was so over there, they'd at least put him in a main event of Survivor Series.
Or at least giving him the booty babe. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll move on because Val Venus and Goldust are up next. The King's English references are getting funnier as they come along. He mentioned that Val had been recently aligned with The Godfather and said, something to do with the Slappers.
Yeah, he's talking about, because they had Terry Runnels, the whole story, because she's not Marlena anymore in this. She's Terry Runnels.
Terry.
So she's obviously with Goldust, or was with Goldust. She's had this little affair with Val Venus, and she said she was pregnant, and then Val said, no, we're not pregnant. You're pregnant. I've had a vasectomy, love.
Had the snip.
He had the snip, mate. He's fucking firing blanks. And then, they're talking about, she's a Jezebel. Do you think people in England know what a Jezebel is? She's a slapper. She's a slapper. And it's like, you can't help but smile, can you, when you hear someone talking American saying someone's a slapper? It's like, that's great, mate. I fucking love all that. Couple of cheap pops.
Goldust at the bell. Now, Goldust here. Now, this is a good one. He was showing shades of this blue chip prospect, right, that we used to watch in WCW in the early 90s. Like, I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. He reminded me of someone. You think something we can figure out?
What, Goldust?
Yeah.
Really he had a certain look about him. One dude, he reminds me of someone. Former TV champion. Yeah.
They do the spot where someone gets dizzy, falls down, and headbutts Val in the jewels. Again, these matches are just really quick. It's not that we're skipping anything.
They're extremely quick.
Goldust sets up Val for Shattered Dreams. Our stupid ref of the evening, Mr. Earl Hebner, gets in the way. And
a quick roll-up.
It gets funny because it's a kick to the nuts and a roll-up, and that's 2 roll-ups in 2 matches. Val wins it.
I mean, Val wins it, but then Goldust, to the crowd's delight.
Oh yeah, massive pop.
They fucking loved it.
Dreams, yeah. Val does get eventually kicked in the balls. I mean, it's a match about getting hit in the bollocks, man. Like,
yeah, because obviously you got the big Valboski. You got the big Valboski, and Val Venus as well was one of my favourite wrestlers. I think it was a fucking fantastic gimmick.
Good.
The whole storyline with Ryan Shamrock was great. The amount of heat he could get was just fantastic. He was the Attitude Era Rick Rude. He was.
Yeah.
He was. In the way that they.
Pretty much personification of the Attitude Era. He was, his gimmick was that he was in porn. So.
Literally, they say on this show that he was a former adult film actor, and then he gets kicked in the balls and King goes, oh, there goes his next role. or something like that. It was fucking great, man. Like you said, King was on form
He
tonight.
was. This wasn't so much Uncle Jerry's. It was like Jerry still technically being a bit of a heel. Like he's very pro corporation, which is hilarious.
There's a bit in the last match which is fucking fantastic when it's so good, so good. But then that's also JR as well. They're a good team.
Vince is speaking at at the Oxford University next.
It's
very
so
brief
good.
video package, but it's Vince speaking at Oxford.
But he gets a little clap and then he goes, yeah, you would expect that that reception for maybe a prime minister or something like that. He said, but not for Vincent McMahon from the
Vince
WWF.
being a showman, yeah.
Yeah, you got to do better than that. And then everyone's like,
bigger
woo! Like, start whooping and hollering and that. It's fucking good stuff.
After this, Vince, Shane, and the Stooges themselves, Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe, come out. Pat tells us there's been a change, card subject to change and all that. The Rock will no longer be facing Triple H. He'll be facing one of his toughest competitors to date, someone who almost beat him for the WWF title a couple of weeks ago, X-Pac. The fans cheer for it, so it's not really that bad of a change.
Do you know what I was popping for, bro? When Pat Patterson is calling Helmsley Hemsley. He keeps saying, he keeps going, Hunter Hearst Hemsley. He goes, Hemsley. It is just, I was absolutely...
Remind us that it was Triple H for anyone not paying attention.
It was so funny, man. I was popping for that.
They start talking about Vinnie Jones. And Shane suggests that Vinnie Jones might be George Michael's boyfriend.
Because because obviously Vinnie Jones, for anyone who doesn't know, and they only know him from the movies or whatever, any of our American listeners or whatever, Vinnie Jones played football, not soccer. He played football for a team called Wimbledon, and he played for Sheffield United, and
he played for Leeds as well. Yeah,
he played for Leeds. Yeah, but he was what it was called soccer's hard man. And you know what I should have done? I fucked up here because I've got a bit of Vinnie Jones memorabilia.
You ain't got that picture of him grabbing Gaz's balls, have you?
No, I haven't, but I've got something even better than that. His mum actually used to run a kennels, okay, in a place down the road in Hertfordshire, and she used to look after our dogs when we went on holiday. So I got given as a gift one Christmas a VHS which Vinnie Jones got fined for making, and it was called Soccer's Hard Men. And it was basically Vinnie Jones talking about all these crazy things that had happened in football, like all these crazy tackles and mad shit that had gone on. And he was giving tips about basically how to fuck people over when you're playing football. So you give them a dirty tackle, and then when you're helping them up, you put your foot on their foot, and as you're pulling them up, you stamp on their foot, and like when you like grab their armpit hair or whatever when you're helping them up, and all this kind of shit.
Very old school tactics.
Yeah, but old school tactics. And he got fined something like 15 grand by the FA for making this video for bringing the game. Yeah, chump change, but for bringing the game into disrepute or whatever. So I took this video before we went on holiday to his mum and said, look, would you mind if Vinny comes round? Could you get him to sign this for me, please? So she said, yeah, no problem. And this is when he was still playing football. I mean, I'm nearly 40, so do you know what I mean? That's how many years ago it was. So we come back from holiday, and she fucking gives me this VHS, and it's got on the actual video, on the sticker of the video, it says to Chris, be good, Vinnie Jones. And then on the inside cover, he's signed it. And then on a separate bit of paper, he signed the same thing. He signed it 3 times, this video for me. And it's like, it's one of my like prized possessions, and it's actually with my wrestling videos next door. So I should have really brought that out, because I like Vinnie Jones, but people don't know he actually was a football player. But what he said was as well, his mum gave him the video, and he said, oh, fucking hell, not this. She goes, what do you mean? He goes, this is the video I got fined for. So I've given him I'm giving him the video that cost him like 15 grand or whatever. And back then it was probably quite a lot of money, 15 grand. So, yeah, he signed that video for me. So I've not only got wrestling memorabilia and signatures, I've actually got a signed Vinnie Jones video. And yeah, Vinny comes out at this time. He'd done Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. And they're like, yeah, we don't know what a hard man is, but all I can think of is, you know, he might be George Michael's boyfriend. And it's like, there's so many, this little segment here, bro.
Oh, it's horrid, isn't it?
It's horrible, man. There's like gay innuendos, there's like homophobia, there's racism, there's fucking xenophobia. It is just your who's who and your what's of what not to do nowadays. But
Vince would go on to say the Brits are barbaric, America is better, all that stuff. And he drops in a little bit of racial, the old xenophobia, like with it. It's like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, he talks about the British Empire being done, and he talks about the Falklands. He talks about the French and the Germans.
Yeah.
So much cheap heat. This is just like...
it's the cheapest of heat.
It is the cheapest of heat segments, but there's a lot of arsehole chants as well.
Yes.
And you notice there's the you fat bastard chants as well.
That comes out, as well for Bossman later on.
Yeah, it's your classic football chants. But they talk about like, I don't know who's told Vince this, that apparently everyone in the UK must not like Pakistani people.
Oh, what a terrible line.
Bro, he's like, and you know what's going to happen? He said, you're going to end up with a prime minister of Pakistani extraction. And it's like, I was like, fucking hell, bro.
At this point, I'm like this. I'm like, oh, shit.
It is proper, like, hands over the face. It's like, who are you taking your... Like, he's gone to someone English and said, right.
He's popped round Farage's house.
Yeah, he has. He's gone round... He's gone round Farage's house. He's gone to Nigel Farage and he's gone, what don't they like in England? He's like, right, don't like gays, don't like the Germans, the French, and don't like Pakistanis, and we won the Falklands. So it's like,
oh man,
it was the UKIP speech that he's just done
it was fucking crazy. That shit would not fly now.
It shouldn't have really flown then, but
it shouldn't.
It was.
But he went for it, and he went. We're live, pal.
Full on. It was crazy, dude. Fuck, man. I was watching it in disbelief because I don't remember it being that crazy.
Oh,
but this is fucking 22 years ago, you know.
Absolute vicious promo.
It's fucking crazy, dude. Nuts.
Next up, it's Tiger Ali Singh against Edge. Quick note on Tiger Ali Singh. Vince and Bruce and such were convinced by Tiger Jeet Singh that Tiger Ali was this big star in India and, would make the company untold millions. This is something that would be explained on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad. Always a shout out to them because they've got great podcast, let's be honest. Probably number one out there, right?
It's pretty good, man.
Yeah. Bruce would explain that they saw through it and they regret having this match take place and how it went down. Because let's be honest, it's a piece of shit.
Oh, it's, as Pritchard would say, it's the dribbling shits.
That's right.
It is, but it's funny, bro. Like Tiger Jeet Singh back in the day had some crazy gimmick. He used to chase people around. He had a load of heat, man, and he was, for what he did, he was huge. But Tiger Ali Singh never really did anything, bro. Like, do you actually remember? I mean, like they've done WWF have done quite a few Indian shows, didn't they? They've done tours and that of India and whatever. Yeah. Do you remember? I don't know because you weren't a huge fan of TNA, but do you remember when TNA started a promotion in India and it was called Ring Ka King? Do you remember that?
I've heard of it. Yeah, it's something I heard. Like, you know, when you read in the, you know, this was probably when I was reading Power Slam back in the day, man. Like Power Slam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Ring
So
Ka King was fucking crazy, man. It was like, because India's got a population of fucking like billions of people or
yeah.
whatever. And the amount of money they could make with an Indian show. But on the one of the Ring Ka Kings, so you've got Scott Steiner just fucking loses the plot. He absolutely starts like grabbing fans, fucking choking them. But it's not a work, bro. They're not plants. Like,
no.
these are genuine fans. And like Scott Steiner's just, he goes on a fucking rampage, and you've got Magnus, Nick Aldis with him. And he's literally like, dude, you should watch it, man. It's fucking crazy. You've got like Nick Aldis literally like grabbing Scott Steiner and stopping him from grabbing the throats of people in the crowd, and that is fucking insane, bro. But that just, when I think of Indian wrestling, I always think of this Ring Ka King and like how crazy it was, man. We should probably do a few of them because it's really funny, man. You've got like all sorts of people on there. You've got I was watching it the other day. I was watching a bit. It's really weird that we're doing this now, and I was watching one the other day. Do you remember a guy called Jimmy Rave?
Yeah, Jimmy Rafe. Yeah.
Apparently, I read on the news only
Yeah,
yesterday.
there's a story about Jimmy. Yeah, that he's had to have part of his arm amputated.
Yeah,
For wrestling. Yeah, it's a real
that's
shame.
crazy. Yeah, because Jimmy Rave was in TNA at the time. So this Ring Ka King had a load of TNA stars, and it had a load of Indian stars, and it had like Davari and that, you know, Sheikh Abdul Bashir and all that. Like it was fucking crazy, man. Now see what they were trying to do, and it was actually all right. But yeah, when I think of Indian wrestling, I just think of Ring Ka King and Scott Steiner absolutely losing the fucking plot.
So
Sorry, man.
this match is the shit. I'm sorry, there's just no other way to put it. Tiger Ali Singh wins with his feet on the ropes. I'm done. Like I've got nothing to say,
Bro. And it was such a poor pin as well. It was like,
yeah.
I mean, but they were trying to get Edge over at this time as well. Like I don't know
This
why.
isn't the way to do it.
No, I don't understand because, you know, it was just weird. You know, Tiger Ali Singh comes out and he dedicates this match to all the Indians that suffered under the British Empire. You know, so he's going for the heel heat straight away. You know, and Edge, they were trying to get him over. They had him with the Brood, you know, and Gangrel's always said that the Brood was like a mechanism to get Edge over, pretty much. Like it was, you know, they said Edge was going to be the next huge star and all this, you know, and it was such a weird match. It was fucking crazy, dude. It was just...
Michael Cole brings out Vinnie Jones into the ring. Gets a nice pop. Vinnie is, you know, he says he's going to knock Vince out. You know, it's going to be emotional, all of that. You know, the lock, stock, shtick.
That's right. We have it. We have it with anyone. Like we're British.
He's trying, like, and that's all you can ask. He's trying.
It's good, man. He was doing good, man. Shout out to Vinny.
For the live crowd, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, it's Mark Merrow and Jacqueline against Christian Stable. And before we crack on with this, I would like to give a quick disclaimer here. This goes out to Brock Lesnar. His name is Chris Brock. I in no way have anything to do with what Chris is about to say about your wife and her wrestling ability back in 1998.
What wrestling ability?
Oh, man. His name is Chris. He's already said that he's in and around Hertfordshire, Brock.
I knew you have to get your disclaimer in this week because I'm going in.
Right. Yeah, let's get to it. Christian pants Mark Merrow pretty quickly because Merrow pulls his trunks up and says you can't blow the belt and pulls him up to his chest, which is quite funny. It's a bit slapstick as well at times.
I enjoyed that aspect, but for me, I just thinking, what was the point of this match? It was just
there's two reasons in particular. as to why this match went on, and one of us is going to have to do that impression in a minute. But
oh shit, son! Don't make me do it, because I'll do it.
it's like I said, it's not. Again, it's another quick match. It's a big pop though for the Sable Bomb, which she does to Mark Mero. It's a power bomb. That's it. And Mero does all of the work. Let's be honest. Let's be cool on that.
I can't.
Mero and Christian fight towards the back. Sable hits a TKO on Jacqueline and wins the match. Jacqueline attacks Tim White. For some reason, she ends up on his shoulders. Sable rips off her top, and we have got bare titties.
We ain't just got bare titties.
No,
we've got chocolate titties.
Someone, yes, this is something that Bruce Pritchard explained on his podcast, that just what Vince wanted. People love chocolate and people love titties, apparently.
That's correct. He's not far wrong. And with Jacqueline, you get chocolate titties.
So go ahead, Chris. Say what you've got to say.
Bro, there's just so much, like what I was saying, like at this time in WWF, okay, I don't think Sable was even under contract at this time, or she was, but there was basically issues where she didn't want to give up the title. She didn't want to lose. She kept refusing to give up the belt. Though I think she might have been out of contract, but they were trying to get her on another contract and she weren't signing. There's a whole bit on JR, Grilling with JR, where they talk about this whole thing. But you have to get through the gazillion fucking adverts first. Yeah. But it's a really weird time because Mark Mero at this time has just been buried to fuck. He'd been absolutely buried. Absolutely. You know, the week before this, Mark Mero got beaten by Gillberg.
Yeah, he lost to Dwayne Gill, part of the Job Squad.
That's right. And Dwayne Gill, hope you're feeling better. He recently had a heart attack. I think he was in hospital. This was this week as well. So shout out to Gillberg. The Blue Meanie got involved and Mero lost. And at this time,
tell us about Sable.
Huh?
Tell us about Sable.
Right. So basically, Sable power bombing Mark Mero has killed Mark Mero off to the point where Steve Austin didn't want to work with him and said, look, I'm not going to wrestle Mark Mero because you've just let his missus fucking power bomb him in the ring. So that's off. But Sable at this time, she'd been doing the Playboy thing. She was trying to then do another Playboy thing under her actual name. What was her name? Lena Mero?
Rena, yeah.
Rena, that's it. Rena Mero. So she was trying to do the whole thing. But she was basically an arsehole at this time. She didn't want to lose the belt. She was trying to just do stuff on her own and try and make money and try and get famous, get herself over. You know, there's a lot going on with her contract at this time. And JR talks about how she wanted Stone Cold money. And obviously said, look, you're not going to get Stone Cold money. You know, there was a Survivor Series that where she stripped off. Do you remember? There was an event where she stripped off. She had the handprints on instead.
Oh, yeah, that was before then. Yeah, I think.
This was before. Yeah. So what she was saying was like the buy rate of that was better than the one when she didn't do it. So therefore, she's like the draw. And basically, she was arguing the toss about all this stuff about she's the draw. But you know, they're even saying like in the year she probably made over $1 million. Yeah. But she was never happy with anything. She didn't want to lose the belt. And I still feel bitter because of what she done to Luna. You know, I still feel like every time I watch that strap match, you know, it just epitomizes.
Oh, she didn't get hit, did she?
No, she wouldn't get hit. And she was always moaning about, oh, you know, she didn't give a shit about wrestling. She never did. She didn't want to learn wrestling. Right. She didn't want to.
This is where anything. I have a small defense of Sable and, you know, what was thrust upon her, and I don't mean that in any sort of weird way.
No, and to a point, I'm probably going to agree with as parts of what you're going to say here as well, because I was going to add to
She
it.
wasn't a wrestler. She was nowhere
No.
near a wrestler. But because of her look, she was put into this role. She was given this, this championship, which meant nothing. In 1998, it meant nothing. It had been set back so far by people like Moolah, who we've got our own stories to tell on that woman.
Yeah.
Women's wrestling was, in the US anyway, Japan, it was thriving. In the US, it's nowhere. And it's purely because of people like Moolah, who set it back so far that, Vince had, or someone had to put a championship on someone like Sable to make it worthwhile. I mean, he could have put it on Sonny. He chose not to. Probably the right call. But he would end
Because
up
Sonny weren't a wrestler either.
Yeah, exactly.
Sonny,
No.
but she did love the business. She loved wrestling.
But Sable was an attraction. She did. I'm not sure she drew pay-per-view numbers, but she drew some fans in.
I think she probably was a fairly big draw, because at this time it was the Attitude Era, and
I'm pretty sure she was put in a position she didn't want to be in.
Well, she says as well that on numerous occasions, so you've got Jacqueline here getting the chocolate titties out. She was propositioned, and she said, "Look, this is the only time apparently where they scheduled. They said, right, this is the UK." In the newspapers on page 3, you've got women with their tits out. So if we can get some full frontal, some top nudity, excuse me, we can make them pop. They'll fucking love all that. They propositioned Jacqueline to do it, and she was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it, or whatever. She probably got a few extra quid in the pay packet or whatever. But Sable actually said that they were constantly asking her to do it. So they were constantly asking her to get her tits out all the time, and she kept saying no. And then, Vince and that would call her a prima donna and stuff, because all of this stuff come out. There was a lawsuit. Yeah. And she was suing for like $100 and something million. And basically all this stuff came out where saying, oh, wrestlers were punching holes in walls to try and watch her get changed. They were trying to there was loads of crazy shit that was apparently happening. There were constant comments about her and stuff. And let's be honest, and she complained about Uncle Jerry in commentary and other people saying, when she held a microphone up to her mouth and stuff, saying, she looks comfortable holding that close to her face and all this kind of stuff. So the whole sexual innuendo and saying, oh, is she available? Is she or something about her, like, is she vertically available or something like this, and all this kind of stuff. So to a point, I do feel bad for Sable, to the point where, she did have this thrust upon her. She wasn't a wrestler. But on the other hand, she could have quite easily just said, no, I don't want to do it. But she didn't. She wanted that fame. She wanted to be famous. She done the Playboy thing. And to be honest, the Playboy thing was massively pushed by WWE. It was all over their TV. Yeah. They were pimping it. I remember at the time it was all over, Sable in fucking Playboy. Come on. Like, they were pimping it hard. But, I mean, she just, there's a quote by, again, Jim Cornette, and he says, Sonny was an upfront cunt, but Sable was an undercover cunt. She was snotty to all the girls in the locker room. With Sonny, you knew what you were getting. She was an upfront cunt. She would just upfront just do things, say things, and just be out in the open about being a dick. But Sable was an undercover cunt, where she just did things behind the scenes, was always the politics, and like I say, the whole thing where she didn't want to drop the title. At one point, she hand wrote a contract before an event saying, she didn't want to lose the belt, and she didn't want to do this, and she would go in the ring, but she wouldn't wrestle, and all this kind of shit. So it's like, yes, I agree with you to a point. She did have it thrust on her, but then to the other point, she made a lot of her own problems, and she was, and she left the WWE and settled out of court, and then she ended up going back. Do you remember?
Yeah, she did. She made more money and
Yeah, she fucking,
found
that
another
green,
husband.
bro.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
So it's not a scathing attack on Sable, but to be honest, she should never have had the belt on her at this time. But if anyone should have had the belt, it should have been China at this point. But
well, I think
who
Jacqueline
would?
had a.
Oh, Jacqueline had it, and Sable ended up getting it off her. And Jacqueline had been around in WCW and that, and she years before. But yeah, it's one of them things, man. This match was basically just, it buried Mark Miro and it just was putting Sable over, and it was an excuse basically just for chocolate titties.
There we go. We'll move on because it's our Intercontinental Championship match. It's Ken Shamrock, who is the champion, with the Big Boss Man taking on the Lethal Weapon, or the Bounty Hunter, as he's now known, Steve Blackman. They are chanting "You fat bastard" at Boss Man at ringside. Yeah. Blackman, really good in the ring, just a little bit short of charisma.
He didn't have a lot of charisma. He had more than Malenko, but he. I'm sorry. I saw your little face drop when I dropped him. I'm sorry. It's funny as well, this match, because King says, they say something, oh, don't you think that Shamrock is this and this? And King goes, yeah, mate. He said, he's fucking so funny. Yeah, I mean, these are two guys that they should have had a longer, better feud. I think they did feud for a little bit, didn't they? But, it was the two kind of MMA guys, because UFC at the time was, was fucking up there. It was it was an all right match, actually. I thought it was quite a good match.
Match felt a bit longer because there was a couple of rest holds, but
yeah.
Bossman would then crack Blackman on the ankle with the nightstick, and then there'd be an ankle lock for the win. It's again, your matches wouldn't really pick up until the back end of the card, which is fine,
it's funny because Steve Blackman was quite ripped as well. Don't you think? He was quite muscular.
Very.
And I remember Steve Blackman when Chris Benoit died and he died, when the Chris Benoit thing happened, he was going on quite a lot of TV shows talking about the ICO Pro. And I thought he must have been on the juice at this point, because he looked fucking ripped to shreds.
Pretty stacked.
Yeah.
Michael Cole is with The Rock. He calls X-Pac the bony jabroni.
Love that line. I've got that written down. It's like, hold the Rock's apple. And he talks about X-Pac, this bony jabroni. It was great. But
and then he starts to run through other people's catchphrases.
That's right.
Which is very good.
He did that on an American show afterwards, though.
He did do it, yeah. He did do it on Raw, I think.
When he was... Yeah, later on so it's like he tried it out here and it got a huge pop.
Yeah.
And then because this was a UK only pay-per-view, obviously they could do it then in America. And he's like, he goes, I am the best there is, the best there. No, that's not it. And he's like, to beat the man, you got to beat. No, that's not it. And he's like, it's so good. It's really well done.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, it's a really great promo from The Rock, but as you can see from my T-shirt, when did The Rock not have great promos? I'm wearing a Rock T-shirt for all our listeners.
Really, if you want a Rock T-shirt, you should have him wear it with the one where he wears the with the gold chain. The one where he's like this really old picture where he's like leaning against something. He's got the fanny pack on
with a turtleneck and the fanny pack. Yeah, mate. The one that Kevin Hart, he goes at Halloween and he knocks on The Rock's house and he's wearing the same stuff and he's like, what are you wearing? He's like, I'm you. He's like, classic little skit, man. Great stuff.
Next up is Jeff Jarrett with Deborah taking on Triple H, who's with China. Babyface Triple H always confuses me. It's always weird for me. I don't know why. I'm just so used to him being a heel.
It is weird, yeah.
JR thinks there's some hanky-panky going on between Jarrett and Deborah.
That's right.
He used the term hanky-panky.
He did.
This match is all right. It's good.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, they work well together, Jarrett and Triple H. Jarrett, of course, will be gone to WCW by the end of '99 to become champion like 8 times. I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh, so it's funny actually because talking about the match before this with Sable, didn't Sable turn up in WCW and she was sitting in the front row on Nitro,
Right,
but they didn't call.
one night on Nitro.
Yeah, they didn't call her Sable. They didn't say, and they didn't even really refer to her or anything like that. I think Bischoff, he said something like, "Oh, you know, I've seen Playboy" or something like that, and they just kept putting the camera on her and all this kind of shit.
Well, I think it was Bischoff that didn't want to mention or get involved because they didn't want to be part of any lawsuit. So
yeah, correct, because there was the lawsuit going on. That's right.
Deborah would get involved in this. She would try and dish up her goodies to Triple H. She's in quite the short outfit here tonight.
Extremely short outfit, and you know, Deborah, she was married to the man Mongo,
one of the world's greatest yet, Mongo.
but she was also married to Stone Cold Steve Austin at one point.
That just shows to me that she knows to pick the greatest wrestlers out there.
From Stone Cold to Mongo.
Yeah.
Did her and Jarrett have a thing?
Only Jarrett would know. I'm not sure whether that was anything or it was just a TV thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that's something I guess only Jarrett and Deborah would know. China hits Jarrett with a chair, and we've got a pedigree, and we're out of here. Again, not very long matches, but it's funny because Stone Cold Steve Austin's with Michael Cole next, and Austin's in a bad mood and just clears him out. Just gets him out of there.
I was saying he seems so tired and like, I mean, at this point he was still suffering real bad with injuries. I mean, he was coming up to the end of his career, bro. He was. I mean, we only covered how many weeks back?
Yeah, WrestleMania 19. Yeah.
His last in-ring appearance. Is Stone Cold Steve Austin one of the only wrestlers really that has said, "I'm retiring," and then just fucking retired and never come back?
I would guess so.
He never really done anything after that though, did he?
I mean, he's dropped a few stunners and stuff, and you know, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I mean, at this point, he was beaten up, man. He was tired. His body was broken. But then when you watch him in the match later on, you wouldn't think that because this motherfucker was bumping like an absolute champion.
Yeah.
But yeah, this promo was just like, fucking, yeah, this is it. I'm going to beat the fuck out of him. Stone Cold's going to do what he's going to do, and that's it. So get the fuck out of here, you little prick. It was literally that, wasn't it? It was like, now get the fuck out of my face, you prick. Fuck off.
I'm laughing because what's next? D'Lo is out and about in London.
Amazing.
He's at the Palace. He's trying to get in. He said, "Oh, that's my old office up there." He was the former European champion, of course. Yeah, he gets us to look at the Thames River.
The Thames, yeah. The Thames River. And he's like, no, someone's telling him, no, it's the Thames, mate. He's like, these tourists.
Yeah.
It's like, and he gets picked up in like this. I mean, this is 1998. He gets picked up in like a Ford Escort estate or something, right?
Oh, it's clapped out, isn't it?
It's proper clapped out, and the geezer who pulls up in the car, D'Lo goes, "What's this, man?" And he goes, Mark Henry took the limo, mate. He's like, he goes, no, it's Mark Henry's fault, mate. He took the limo. He said you'd be all right in this. He goes, you know, and it's literally some clapped out banger. It's like like a Ford Escort estate or something. Incredible vignette though, isn't it? It's really good. He gets recognised in the street. Someone goes, yeah, D'Lo Brown, former European champion. He goes, see, this guy knows, you know. It's but D'Lo's he loves football. He's a huge Liverpool fan, massive.
Well,
Someone's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but yeah, he's a huge Liverpool fan. On Twitter, he's always going on about the football, and he loves Liverpool. Yeah.
Tag team titles are on the line. It's the New Age Outlaws who are your champions against Mark Henry and D'Lo. D'Lo's made it back from the Thames just in time.
From the Thames.
The Outlaws are over as fuck, man. There's no way to, like. And I have a question.
Yo.
Are the New Age Outlaws given enough credit for carrying the tag team division in wrestling in general in 1998? Because when you look at it, tag team wrestling in 98 is pretty poor.
At one
point, I think Rick Steiner and Judy Bagwell might be tag team champions in WCW.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. That's correct.
There was no real team champions in WCW. It was always the Giant and someone, or Sting and the Giant.
Sting and someone. Yeah, you're right. I mean, but that's a shame against people like Harlem Heat, you know, and
Heat had split by this point as well.
Oh, of course they had, yeah, because Booker was going on his thing for the title, weren't he?
Yeah, Sting turned heel. You know, the Steiners had split. You know, the Nasty Boys had finally gone. Public Enemy were nowhere to be seen. Not that I'm adding them to the equation, but
no, I know what you mean. It's no, I don't think they do get enough credit because they made tag team wrestling cool again.
Yeah.
They, you know, you can't talk about tag team wrestling without talking about the New Age Outlaws. You can't. And you know, I still believe to this day that there's no one that's been more over in their whole gimmick since then, since Enzo and Big Cass as well.
Well, this is where I was going to go with it. And like, would Enzo and Cass have been, you know, the Outlaws redefined?
100%. There were whole buildings. There were whole buildings doing the shtick, bro.
Yeah.
Like the New Age Outlaws, everyone who watched wrestling at that time knew the whole, oh, you didn't know, you know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, everyone knew that fucking shtick. And Enzo and Big Cass, everyone knew the shtick. And you had whole buildings. It weren't just pockets of fans. It was literally whole buildings doing the shtick, bro. You know, my name is Enzo Amore. You know, that everyone knew the shtick and they waited for it. And they fucking loved it. And they were screaming at the top of their lungs like the New Age Outlaws. This is why, I mean, the British crowd, they never really got to do this as well, apart from when they're watching Raw or when they're watching a pay-per-view. So to have the New Age Outlaws in London fucking doing the thing, it was, you know, even they said in the ring, when they were halfway through the shtick just before Mr. Arse got the thing, they said, right, that was loud, you know, that was loud, but let's make it louder. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. That suck it absolutely shook the building, bro. Yeah. It shook the building. It was a thing of beauty. If you were there, it would have been hairs standing up on your neck kind of shit, man. And imagine being those guys, bro. Imagine being there standing in the ring. I think even Mr. Arse, it kind of overwhelmed him a little bit when he got handed the mic because it was so loud. It was literally like, oh man, he was like the tag team champions of the world. When it was like fucking hell, the whole place was shaking. It was, I loved it, mate. Loved every second of it.
It's a decent match. It's nothing special. It's not long. There's a few couple of rest holds. You know, there's a bear hug spot with Henry because Henry's a big guy. I mean, I love D'Lo.
D'Lo's
Yeah, D'Lo's wearing the
D'Lo's
chest
helping him.
protector, and
Oh, he's great. I don't think D'Lo gets enough credit for being a great heel either.
no,
I think he was very, very good, very charismatic, knew what he was doing in the ring. Even he was shouting stuff to Mark Henry. So he had him in the bear hug and he's saying, shake him, Mark, shake him. And he's like, he's like fucking ragdolling him around. And even JR says, he said, that is a 6'3", 200 and whatever pound man that Mark Henry is just literally ragdolling around like it's nothing, So D'Lo knew about the psychology of the business, how to make things look good, what to do, because Mark Henry was green at this point still. And green isn't like someone said, I think Cornette again, he said, green isn't a time period. It's a state of mind. You can be a wrestler for fucking 20 years and still be green as baby shit, So it's one of them things where he still, at this point, he was a bit green, but D'Lo was still, and they were a good tag team, don't you think, Mark Henry and D'Lo? I enjoyed watching them.
I mean, funnier still that Mark Henry was chasing a date with China during this time.
Oh, it was beautiful though, weren't it?
What an incredible segment that was. Henry, taking China on a date, busting a move on the dance floor, even, him and China laying out a couple of idiots in the bar. Really good stuff. And I know this is, this isn't always the done thing, but there's someone that needs a lot of credit with this stuff. And people don't like to give him credit. And you know where I'm going with this, don't you?
I do.
Vince Russo.
Yeah.
Vince Russo wrote some really good stuff in '98, and there's no getting away from it.
Yeah, people don't like to give. Yeah, they don't like to give Russo credit on anything, No. Least of all, Jim Cornette don't like giving Vince Russo no credit for this shit. But
I know.
He did. He did come up with some great angles. He came up with some good writing. It was good. It was, and they'd started overtaking WCW at this point.
They things had started to even out, and WCW would get an odd win on in the weeks, and then we're actually only a month away from the night where WCW really dropped the ball anyway, with the finger poke and telling the audience that Mick Foley was about to win the title and stuff. So
yeah, it ate itself, didn't it? It started to eat itself.
Billy Gunn hits D'Lo with a pile driver for a win.
A dodgy looking fucking pile driver as well.
A little bit off.
Yeah.
Almost like he sort of leaned to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't look great. There's a video on the corporate champion, The Rock, because that leads into our next match, which is the WWF title match. It is X-Pac, who is our European champion, taking on The Rock, who is our WWF champion. Jim Ross mentions their ages, which is a common theme throughout the whole show, saying that this isn't the seniors tour, which is correct. A clear nod to World Championship Wrestling. This is, I mean, hell of a good match.
Really. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I enjoyed the fact that you could hear a very English kid screaming at The Rock and saying, "Fuck off, Rock!" Literally at this point, it was fucking brilliant. It was like so English, because The Rock is obviously healing it up at this time. They tried to do they did the corporate screw job. Do you remember of how The Rock got it? And it was like Vince was ringing the bell again, like the Montreal screw job. The people screwed the people, if you remember all that shit. So The Rock was healing it up at this time, and it was so good just hearing this kid, "Oi, fuck off, Rock." It was just so funny. Shout out to that kid. And probably you may well be watching this at this time, and if you were that kid, fucking shout out to you, man, because it was beautiful.
X-Pac always threw the most beautiful roundhouse kicks. 3 of them, and The Rock is down. He tries to, he says, "That's it, I've had enough." Tries to walk out, but Triple H and China appear in the entranceway, and they're stopping from leaving. X-Pac misses the Bronco Buster. What a weird move that is.
It's so strange, isn't it?
Um,
So you got China and Triple H turning up, but like China's boobs as well. She had a lot of plastic surgery done around this time, like on the old jaw and the titties and that. But they look almost like cartoon-like. Don't you think? She looks like almost like a cartoon character. It was weird. I mean, she would go on. I mean, because China's one of these people as well. Like, I've got a question for you.
well,
Do you think that China should be in the Hall of Fame?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
I don't think. I don't. For me, I don't think there's really a sort of an argument as to why not.
I mean, we all know why not.
We do. We don't. We do know why not. She's not around to defend herself though, on that.
Yeah.
So I got no reason. I got no other reasons as to why she shouldn't. I mean, the only other person that seems to be kept away from the Hall of Fame is Benoit. Sonny's in it,
Yeah, it's Sonny's in the Hall of Fame, and she's doing porn now.
Hell, I mean, Lars Sullivan's still on the show in WWE.
He's still on the show.
Yeah, he's still on SmackDown or whatever.
But it's all over the internet as well about Lars Sullivan having, first of all, like shouting gay slurs or tweeting gay slurs, but then secondly, actually doing gay porn.
Yes.
It's fucking insane. But I mean, there's no real, and I mean, this is another. It's a really interesting interview as well. Vince Russo and China. Great interview, really, really good. It's hard to listen to now because obviously she's not here.
Give me 2 seconds. I've actually got to go and cough, and I don't want to cough on the mic. Keep the people talking. Tell them where they can find us.
I'll keep talking about China because there is no real reason that she shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. China, she was incredible. She had incredible runs. She was the first woman to win the Intercontinental Championship. She was, she was a beast, and we pretty much know why she wasn't inducted into the Hall of Fame or why she hasn't been, or there's a reason that has been used for why she hasn't been entered into the Hall of Fame. But I don't think that's the reason. I don't think the fact that she did porn was the reason why she's not been put in there. I think it's a thing to do with obviously Triple H and Steph and this kind of thing, So, but when you listen to the Vince Russo interview with China, it talks all the way through that. It explains what happened with, she was with Triple H, and then they did the angle with Stephanie, and then he was traveling with her and them, and literally, she got left in a fucking hotel or left in a building one day, and then it all went tits up, But I love China. I thought she was great. The stuff she did with Eddie Guerrero was just
brilliant.
Oh, you can't. Even the stuff she did with Jeff Jarrett, dude, was
stuff
good.
She did with Mark Henry.
Yeah, the stuff, I mean, China was great. She was absolutely fantastic, and I do think it is criminal that she's not in the Hall of Fame. I really do. It upsets me to a point that she's not. So
she should be.
She should be 100%.
But we'll move on. Good old-fashioned ball punch from Dwayne to X-Pac. And this is the bit I mentioned briefly before we came on. The corporate elbow. It's pure class.
Yeah.
He doesn't throw the elbow pad to the crowd. He just throws it really
on X-Pac.
On X-Pac, yeah. And then running towards him for the elbow is just so good. Just crushed.
It's brilliant.
That was it was one of the moments of the match for me. But this is where oh man, we were so close here. China Low Blow almost gives the guy formerly known as the 1-2-3 Kid the WWF title.
Yep.
And
Yep.
close. I mean,
he gets a nice 2 count, nice spinning heel kick.
Yeah.
There's a ref bump.
There is.
There's a ref bump, and then the King, he's proper stooging it up. He's like, cover him, I'll count. Cover him, I'll count. You know, it's fucking great, man. And then he's like, Mr. McMahon, like he's screaming, Mr. McMahon, come out, come out.
It's great King stuff. Triple H lays out The Rock with the European title belt. And this is like, again, and they're really close to, and this is where it gets a little bit funny, like just it's not the good funny, it's that sort of hokey shit that we spoke about.
Yeah.
Rock just runs up to China and pushes her.
Yeah.
Triple H hits him and that's the DQ. That's it, we're done.
Yeah.
And it
was a pretty good match.
This is the match where the crowd had the building shaking.
Yeah.
I mean, you've almost got on pay-per-view in the UK, X-Pac, 1-2-3 Kid, whatever, winning the world title. That's insane. Really good booking.
It was good booking the way that, and because then it also served quite a few purposes, because then you had, The Rock, the whole heat with The Rock, where he was going to be against Triple H, but now he's against someone that's seen as lesser than Triple H, but really put in a good performance, nearly won it. It also keeps Mr. McMahon's heat.
This is it, like Rock bumps like crazy, and this is something that Triple H would end up doing himself, because when he first became champion, he wasn't really perceived as championship material and all that stuff. And then he had that match on SmackDown or something with Taka Michinoku, and he just bumped like fuck for him.
Yeah, I love Taka.
Yeah,
I love Taka Michinoku.
And it really did show like Triple H as a leader as such, and yeah, really good stuff. But I enjoyed this one. And next up is our main event, and there's a lot to talk about in this main event.
It is Carnage. It was nuts.
Much like Over the Edge in 1998, we have a ring announcer, a timekeeper, a special referee, all of that stuff. Shane is our ring announcer. He brings out our guest timekeeper for the night, Mr. Pat Patterson, the very first Intercontinental Champion, apparently, after winning that tournament in Rio de Janeiro. I believe that Pat Patterson beat Sunset Skip in the final. I'm not sure how true that is, but something
we'd have to consult. Yeah, we'd have to consult with Sunset Skip over that one.
I think it was a valiant effort from Skip. He'd already fought 8 times that night. It was,
And once with a couple of rats in the hotel as well.
I'm not getting into that one.
That was an unscheduled, unsanctioned match. That was.
That was an unscheduled, unsanctioned comment. I did not. Our new special guest referee is Gerald Briscoe, not Bossman as advertised. And what a treat we have. We have a guest commentator.
Yep.
Uncle Vince will be doing commentary much like the old days.
And he can't help but slip back into the calling the match
hype man Vince mode, yeah.
He can't, exactly, and he keeps calling like moves and shit. Like he can't help it. He just slips back into it. But we get a good few football chants here, though. We get the old "you fat bastard" for Patterson, and we also get the referee's a wanker.
That's right. For Jerry.
It is just to hear that on a wrestling show. I've heard it at independent British shows all the time. When you go and watch like your All Star or your Star Slam wrestling or whatever. You know what I mean? You fucking, and you sit, the referee's being a heel, and then people in the crowd, the referee's a wanker. But to hear it on like a WWF show, it was great, and you can tell that they're loving. They know that this heat, the crowd's wild. They're just loving it, absolutely loving it.
Big Boss Man is now our enforcer. Vinnie Jones is back out. He shoves Big Boss Man out of the ring. At this point, Gerald Briscoe shows Vinnie Jones a red card.
It's classic, isn't it?
And the main event hasn't even started, and it's chaos.
It's absolutely crazy because they go.
This is where our ICO Pro Award gets dished out.
Yes, dude. We did. Do you know what? This makes me very, very happy because anyone who's listening or watching this right now, I can hand on heart say me and Jordan have not spoken about who we never speak every week about who we're picking for our ICO Pro Award winner. And the fact that we have both picked this gentleman at this point is fucking, we are too good, dude. Sorry, Jordan.
I feel bad that I haven't looked up his name. I know he died recently, though.
He died in 2015 at the tender age of 49. His name is Jim Dotson.
Jim Dotson, that's it.
Jim Dotson. People call him the hat guy, the Kangol,
he's had the
security guy.
Type hat on.
Yeah. He was head of security from WWF from...
I mean, he knocked spots off Doug Dillinger, didn't he?
Oh, dude. Dotson was there, bro. From like 97 through to 2005 or something, maybe. Jim Dotson
is our ICO Pro Award winner for this show.
Fucking A. Yeah, dude.
He is jacked.
He is absolutely properly jacked. He is.
He's about to rip through that shirt without even using his hands.
100%, man. Do you know what? That makes me happier than it should do. The fact that we've both picked old Jim Dotson. But and if people don't know who Jim Dotson is, but you're a fan of wrestling, you will know who he is, but you might not know his name, but you've seen him. When The Rock and Stone Cold were brawling in the crowd, Jim Dotson's there holding back fucking fans.
He's holding back like 80 fans with like two arms. Do
you know what I mean? And the geezer, when they were brawling on the cars at the other event, what was the other event where they had like the cars and everything, and they were fighting down I think it might have been another WrestleMania, or it might have been a Survivor Series or something where you had Stone Cold and The Rock. Jim Dotson was there for this time, and he is our ICO Pro winner.
Jeez, yeah, because he escorts Vinnie Jones out of there. Vince explains that red cards could be something you see more of in the World Wrestling Federation. It's not.
It's not. Is it?
And after all that chaos, it's main event time, and it's Mankind against Kane, against The Undertaker with Paul Bearer, against Stone Cold Steve Austin. And, wow, man, the pop for Austin.
Goes off. He's hot at this time.
We've heard some great, crazy pops for people. But this London Arena crowd for Steve Austin is... I mean, I'm amazed he doesn't talk about his own pops more often, like the Road Warrior pops, because they were massive, but the Austin pop especially in 98 and 99 is just astronomical.
Off the hook, man. It was, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, obviously, the English, the fact that he had an ex-wife who was English, and he's got a daughter that actually I think lives here as well. But the fact that Stone Cold Steve Austin is called Stone Cold Steve Austin is because his wife, said, "Yeah, Steve, drink your tea, it'll be Stone Cold." And he's like, "Oh, that sounds kind of good. There you go. I'll take that. Thanks very much." This pop was off the hook, mate. It was literally, the building was shaking. It was absolutely shaking to the rafters.
I really enjoyed this match. In my classic Percy Pringle moment of the night, Paul Bearer hits Steve Austin with his shoe.
And he struts off. He does it twice because he does it to Mankind later on as well, and he struts.
It's
He's-
it's not Paul. It's proper Percy Pringle. That is.
It's Percy Pringle. It was absolutely beautiful because at this time, Paul Bearer didn't really. He had like the ginger hair,
Yeah, no,
and he didn't
no
have
white
the.
face. Yeah, like
Yeah, it was Percy Pringle. It was beautiful. The way he hits him with the shoe and then just like scuttles off with a little strut. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It was beautiful.
he's having
Great
fun with
stuff.
this one. Gerald Briscoe is brilliant as a shit referee.
It's good.
Yeah, he hurt his knee going down for the first pin.
He goes, yeah, he's
playing, and Vince is
Vince
straight
is,
on it.
yeah.
I mean, Vince is brilliant on commentary as well. We've already said this, but I mean,
Beautiful. But the thing is, right, like we did another show for another company, which had all heel commentators, heel referees, and they did it for the whole fucking pay-per-view, and it sucked donkey balls. When you do it for one match, fucking great. You can go all in, you can chuck everything, including the kitchen sink at it, and it works. Especially when you've got, like you say, Gerald Briscoe, you got Pat Patterson, you got Vince McMahon, you've got the King there as well.
Shane's
you
out
know,
there as well.
Yeah, Boss Man out there. You know, it's just it works.
It is a fatal four-way. It's a brawl. It's all over the place. I always really love this sequence that comes up. Austin goes for the stunner. Mankind pushes him off against the ropes, and like Austin would run into the Mandible Claw. I always really liked it. I always thought it was always done really smoothly and really like that's just brilliant. Like those two work really well together.
Yeah, it was good.
And they worked a lot in 1998, like against each other. I think they had like 2 or 3 matches on pay-per-view as well.
I mean, people forget as well that Mick Foley really did step in when Austin was injured and kind of take the reins, and they put him in a spot, you know, because Austin was hot, really, really hot when he went out. And then there was a time from late 96, 97, 98 where Mankind, Mick Foley, you know, fucking Cactus Jack, you know, Dude Love, whatever, you know, he did help carry the company, man. People forget about Mick Foley in that regard because he's kind of overshadowed by The Rock and Austin. But really, I think at this time, from 97 to 99 at least, you've got to say that Mankind was really up there, dude, as well.
Well, this is where we you know, we sort of forget how well done stuff was, especially in this era, because this fatal four-way match, this main event where everyone's super over, any one of these 4 could have been champion and no one would have batted an eyelid.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking at wrestling now where there's, you know, in certain companies there's one guy who could be champion, maybe another one. That's it. You know, you can't look really beyond Roman on SmackDown as champion at the moment. You know, he's probably going to defend against Kevin Owens and beat him. On Raw, Drew is a great champion, but who else is there to take it away from him? Randy Orton's already done it. Like, what's next? Nothing.
Yeah.
There's not that level of, I'm trying to find the word, but it's like there's so many guys here in 98 that could be champion and you wouldn't be bothered by it.
It's true. I mean, you're right. I mean, there really was. I mean, even fucking, you know, people were even popping at the chance that X Pac would have the strap.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's crazy.
It's crazy. You know, with the amount of talent that was really on this.
You know, within the year, Triple H would be world champion.
Yeah.
It's
great stuff.
Like, yeah, it's just. Again,
spoiled.
we were spoiled, and I mean, we appreciate it, but I'm not so sure that others do. You know, they think that the era they're in now is the golden era, and it's not even close.
No, man, we were spoiled, man. We really were.
Yeah. Back into this match, it is excellent. You know, Gerald Briscoe finally gets nailed after one too many dodgy counts and slow counts and stuff. I mean, it's hilarious, but
one time he's supposed to go down for a count, and with Austin on going for the cover, and he looks, and then he turns and he goes over and leans over the rope, and he goes to Pat. He's like, "What? Yeah, what time is it? Is it? Yeah, you know." But the boos literally are like echoing round. The heat is just steaming.
It's real heat for Gerald Briscoe of all people. Austin would hit Kane with a stunner for a 3 count, which would get counted by another referee. I think I can remember that. Gerald Briscoe does finally get a stunner. Vinnie Jones makes his way back down. Bossman gets a stunner, and then Hebner starts laying in some shots on Bossman.
Yeah, it's weird. It's fucking. It was so weird, dude, because Vinnie Jones gives Bossman the belly kick, and then Bossman goes down, and then Austin gives him the stunner.
Great
and then, you've got Hebner, like, laying in some shots, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? He doesn't have any, like, merchandise on him. Leave him. Like, just let him be.
I don't remember many Bossman shirts being sold around that time. Yeah, I'm not sure why Hebner had to get his heat in here. But he for some reason joins in the beer drinking celebration with Vinnie Jones and Steve Austin,
which was really enjoyable watching that. Vinnie Jones gets involved in it. You know, he's drinking the beer. Stone Cold goes back to the ring like 2, 3, 4 times. You know, because I think he can feel how much the crowd love him there. You know, and he knows he's got to just. And to be fair, Stone Cold, his body was fucked at this point. He was absolutely knackered. But when you watch this match, dude, he's taking bumps on the entranceway. Yeah. As soon as the match starts, someone comes to meet him halfway up the entranceway, gives him a punch, and he's bumping on the fucking entranceway. He's bumping on the concrete outside. He's bumping inside the ring like a son bitch. Austin, just the intensity that Stone Cold Steve Austin had. You know, he wasn't just a promo. He wasn't just a gimmick. Like, when he was in the ring, you could watch him and you're like, damn, you know, he's just, the intensity was just brilliant.
Jim Ross is in super hype mode at this point for Austin. But in reality, he was having a Bell's palsy attack.
He's correct.
Yeah. And it's really, he was, I mean, I've got his first book, like as an audio book, really great to listen to. I think it was around this time that his mum had passed away.
Correct. I think he found out when he was in England that his mum passed away.
And he had the Bell's palsy attack, and he wouldn't be on telly again. Oh, sorry, on telly. Look at me talking like we're at the London Arena. He wouldn't be on TV again until the main event of WrestleMania 15, which would be around March, April time. So his illness would take him right off the TV, right out of the game, which is, you know, really, really sad for him, because he's had an incredible night here with Jerry Lawler. And
it was
at the end of the show.
It was good. Because he actually had a Bell's palsy attack during the pay-per-view. Yeah,
during the show.
Yeah. You know, and because even at the end of this, it's great when they're talking and King's there, and he's like, "Oh, you want Stone Cold to win this, didn't you?" And JR's like, "Well, yeah, I do actually." And then Vince goes, "Be careful." He goes, no, because he says something. He goes, "Oh, do you want to kiss Mr. McMahon? Yes, Mr. McMahon. You want to kiss Mr. McMahon's ass?" And then Vince is like, "Hey, be careful, huh?" Like, you know, it's that little dynamic there was fucking great. But he was actually having an attack of Bell's palsy, and like you say, he would be out of it for a long time after this.
But yeah, I mean, and that's Capital Carnage. That's our show.
That's right.
Like I said, it's a lot of fun. I recommend anyone go back and watch it just to see what this crowd's like, because they shake the arena. It's probably why they had to knock it down.
Yeah, that's probably why they had to knock it down. Yeah, because it was shaken, shook to its core. But, especially if you're English, watch it because you'll love the references. At one point, King would say as well that what's her name, Marlena or whatever, belongs in Soho.
Yeah.
And only English people would get that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of English references in it.
King's Cross as well, but
that's right. Yeah, that's right. So it's great. But as an American, if you've never watched this pay-per-view, watch it because it was in the golden era. It was the crowd was red hot. There's a lot of stars on the roster.
If only just for the X-Pac, Rock, and the Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah.
Like,
And for Vinnie Jones. Yeah.
And I mean, let us know what you think of the New Age Outlaws as well. Let us know what you think of that tag team division in 1998. Let us know if you think that we're wrong and that there are a better tag team out there. I mean, I'm sure there probably was a better tag team out there in Japan, but let us know what you think about what's going on in this landscape of, what is essentially a hot time for wrestling in 98 with WWF, ECW, WCW. The Outlaws are probably carrying that division.
Yeah, they definitely were. They weren't just carrying it; they were doing keepy uppies with it, mate. They were
get at us with that. Let us know.
Get at us, yeah.
We really enjoyed this. We've got one coming up for you next. It's another Capital show.
Yep.
It's a Capital Combat with the. Well, I mean, I'm just going to say it's with RoboCop.
It is.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Capital Combat 90, WCW. It's a crazy event. I do have the VHS to it. It was one of the first set of VHS that was released in the UK. But I will not be watching the VHS for the simple reason that Turner's probably cut a load of matches off it, so I'll be watching it on the fucking network because I don't want to miss out.
Home entertainment has a lot to answer for with Chris, and yeah,
I still got to be in my bonnet over that, man. The fact that they've cut out so many matches over the years.
They cut out of a video. Shame on them.
Yeah, man, 100%, man. And if it weren't for the network, people chat a lot of shit about WWE, but if it weren't for the network, we never would have seen Oz's debut.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Thank you to anyone and everyone that's still watching, still listening. We know it can be a slog sometimes.
Yeah.
Break it up. Watch it in 2 or 3 parts. You'll love it.
Yeah, man.
If you love it, give us a comment, give us a like, give us a shout out. Hit us up with what you liked, what you didn't like. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Chat Grapple Pops. We're on Facebook in the group. It's just one long Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops. Or hit that subscribe button.
Touch our bells, man. Please. Touch it. It's free. Do it now. Don't do it later. You don't even need to get notifications. Just touch that bell. We are coming up to the 1,000 subscribers. Once we get that, we are going to do a giveaway, which isn't just,
I did promise a Twitter giveaway after 1,000 followers, and we did break it. So I've got a couple of bits lined up.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well, I'll chuck a couple of bits in as well. We've got some 6x4 vintage 1998 stickers. I might even chuck in here.
This is the stuff people need to get involved in because we got some weird and wonderful shit.
So we've got a packet of WWF metal stickers.
There we go.
And also a packet of look at that. Damn. SmackDown stickers. Yeah. This is from the era, bro. These are still
good shit.
Fresh in the packet, mint. So yeah, I'll chuck them in as well. We've got loads of bits and bobs, and we're on like 1,010 subscribers or something now, bro.
Oh, what on Twitter?
On Twitter, yeah.
I can look it up right now. We're at 1,038.
Oh, sweet, dude.
So
And I think we
eagerly.
made a mistake with what we were going to review, because I think there was one other thing that we were going to review, and it was a WrestleMania. Do you remember?
WrestleMania.
Yeah, because I
Oh, we
found my
did talk
list.
about WrestleMania 5, yeah. We did.
Yeah.
But we'll do that after Capital Combat.
So that's what I was going to say. So we've had Capital Carnage. We're going to do Capital Combat, and then after that, we are going to do, in the lead up to Christmas, it's going to be WrestleMania 5.
WrestleMania 5,
So
really good one.
you've got a hell of a lot more content coming. You've had a hell of a lot of content off us already. When we hit episode 24, you know, our episodes are 2 hours long, pretty much every single one. You could sit for 2 whole days straight and listen to Chat, Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast.
I'm not sure if I'd recommend that.
I don't know. You would probably just end up, you know, just sleep hating Sable and, you know, having nightmares.
You'd be dreaming about touching the bell.
And you would be dreaming about touching the bell. Please do it. Give us those YouTube subscriptions. We really want to, you know, like we're saying, we want to diversify the kind of content we're doing. It doesn't look like this lockdown or tier system that we're going into in this country is ever, because myself and Jordan, we wanted to do an episode where we're with each other in a house, sitting on a sofa, doing episodes like that, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that. So if we can get up to them 1,000 subscribers, we can get maybe a little bit of ad revenue. It's only 5 seconds here and there, and then you can skip ad.
Yeah.
You know, it might give us a little bit of revenue that can just cover our costs that we're paying ourselves now, you know, with the podcast and, you know, with all this kind of shit. But I mean, like I say, we don't want your money. We've got no Patreon. We don't like, all we ask for is just to touch that bell.
And MJF does not like Patreon either. I saw that.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Old MJF here.
Saw that on his review of another podcast. He does not like Patreon. And he also doesn't like podcasters that haven't taken a bump. So we're, you know,
we're good, man. We're good.
We're ahead of
them. Bro, I've thrown up numerous times after getting out of a wrestling ring. So I'm good, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I could have been puke. You know what I'm saying? Many times I've run out the side door after taking a few hefty bumps and thrown up my lunch.
Take a bump.
So I'm good. I'm good to go.
We need to try this new move. Chris, get over here.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, bro. But we loved every second of it. So we're good in MJF's eyes. Hopefully we're good in your eyes. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And thank you, JB. I know you're not feeling too good at the minute, man. You're still kind of, you know. But so thanks to you as well, bro. And me and JB are probably going to go to bed now. So yeah, that is it. This was WWF Capital Carnage, episode 25 of Chat, Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast. And fuck, we're done. Another episode in the bag, baby.
Stay safe. Take care.
Bye.